That's recording. Intro.
We are the only show for independents all around, giving you a platform to spread your word all over town. Catch the Craze is the place to promote to your fans with the dream of Medina and Sam the Crazy Man. Subscribe to our show and never miss an episode. It's time to get your mans, listen to us on the go. Updated every week, we never miss a day. Join the squad, come on in. It's time to catch the Craze. If you are an independent, catch the Craze. Making moves on your own, catch the Craze. On your grind in the streets, catch the Craze. Join the movement, catch the Craze.
Yeah, George, we did it again. Come on now. You know you want to do it. Catch the Craze.
Welcome to Catch the Craze podcast. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the dreamer, Medina.
his name is Georgie Porgy Puddin' Pie. He kissed the girls and made them cry. What's up,
I don't get it. How come I can hear you with the beat? I can't hear the beat when you're singing it. I can hear when I go in.
I got the
See,
beat. Don't worry. There's
you
enough
got
beat
the
in me
beat.
for everybody.
Oh man.
¿Qué
So what's
pasó?
going on, Sammy?
What's going? It's been busy, man. It's not enough time in the day, son. Not enough
Them
time.
Busy.
You know,
Busy Sam.
it's crazy. I can't. A lot of stuff going on. We got the Craze. We got the Patreon. We had the Kickstarter. We got guests. We're booked forever. I mean, it's like hard to get people in. We got the Craze in 10 or less. We got What's in the Box.
What's in the box? Yes,
Yo.
yes. You know, we have a fun show today. Actually, speaking of like the Craze in 10, I know you, for all you avid followers, I'm sure that you saw Sam's What's in the Box. The Craze in Less Than 10 a few weeks ago, maybe last month. I would say sometime in
August
end of
30th.
August.
About August 30th.
August 30th.
There you go. Look at that.
He spoke about freelancing. We're gonna dive into that topic a little further here today. We also have a great. He's an artist. Okay, I'm gonna call him an artist. He mostly does. He identifies as an inker. He's created his own story. He's got a book called Stupendous. It's an anthology. I happen to get a copy of. Very good stuff. And he's got another one called Horrendous. Which came out in October. Yeah. He's an inker. His name is Enrique QuiQue Lopez.
QuiQue.
So he's going to be on the show today. He's very excited to come on and talk to us a little bit about it. Hey, Joe, little fun fact, Sam.
Fun facts with sci-facts.
My middle name is Enrique. Fun fact.
Oh, snaps.
QuiQue, son. QuiQue.
Wow, it's Jorge QuiQue Medina.
Enrique Medina.
Oh.
More respect than that, dog. Jorge Enrique Medina Falcones.
Yes, this is Telemundo.
That's right.
Tops in the
That's
Bronx.
right, baby.
Tops in the Bronx.
That's right.
Wow, really? QuiQue.
Yeah, that's
Oh, it's
little
George the
known fact.
QuiQue Medina.
Better than the creamer.
The
Whatever,
creamer.
anyway.
It's the creamer.
Oh, you silly bastard. Inside joke. You guys will all find out very soon what we're talking
you'll
about.
find
right?
out.
You'll find out. Stay tuned.
Let's
You will
give
find
them
out
something
that
to
little
talk about.
Inside joke.
Yes.
So what's going on, Sammy? What's happening in your life besides craziness?
Just plotting to take over the world, homie. Just plotting to take over
right.
the world. That's how we do up in the Craze.
Dude, it's November 20th at this point. This is when this show will be airing, November 20th. So we're near the end of the year, man.
Although we've come
That's right.
to
That's
the
right.
end
Those
of
notes
the
are hard.
road.
Those notes are hard.
I
Those
know.
are hard
And
notes.
I'm eating hot, French fries with hot sauce on it, so my lips are puffing up.
Those are really hard
Yeah,
notes.
I was like,
Good group though. I miss Boys to Men. They were,
I know,
they
right?
were the- they were the
Boys to
ish,
Men,
man.
ABC, BBD,
BBD.
the East Coast family.
Oh yeah, but yeah, no, we had man. This last year has been, I mean, with COVID, unfortunately, that whole thing, 2020, has just been a year where you're like, what the hell
Yes.
is
Bloody
going
hell.
on?
Bloody hell.
But we've managed to produce a lot of stuff this year, and and I'm happy and proud of us for it. You know,
Yes.
we put out our 200th episode. You know, back in August.
It was one of the highest rated episodes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was fun. We had such a good time.
Yes, George was generous and gave three hoodies out.
Hoodies. Ooh, that was nice. That was nice.
He's like, you get one. I said, all right, you're taking care of that one.
Oh, you want to get people? Okay, go for it.
It's nice to do.
Come on.
So
yeah, no, that was fun. We had a reunion show, a reunion special with the fellas.
Yes, yo fellas, Boricua.
And we had tons of just love from our guests, and we've had a lot of guests on the show. A lot of them that we want to bring back at some point and just do follow-up interviews with them.
Yeah, I think one of the things, I'm not even gonna say that here because when you plant it out there, then you'll have somebody else do the same thing. So we talk of that off the air, right? Offline, we're gonna plot on what we're gonna do. Yes, so we'll peep in my stuff.
Next week is Turkey Day, Thanksgiving. Some people don't like it, to be known as Turkey Day. I call it like that.
Gobble gobble.
For ish and giggles. But
you know what?
Gobble gobble day.
I think
next Thursday.
Given the fact that this year was such a painstaking, heartbreaking, frustrating, disturbing, confusing, emotional roller coaster, I think there's a lot to be thankful for.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's really for family, for friends, for health, for your sanity, emotional stability, because there's been a lot of victims in 2020, whether it was to depression, lives lost through the virus, depression, suicides, violence.
People lost jobs, dude. People lost jobs.
Yes, and it doesn't, it's scary.
Yeah, scary. I mean, everything that's happened with the police, and it's just been a crazy year, dude. It's like we're in a Twilight Zone episode, like just an extended Twilight Zone episode, and
it's hard to believe that so much could be packed into 1 year.
Dude, it's crazy. I mean, look, when the year started, right, and as a sports fan, the year started with the death of like an icon, right?
Yes.
Kobe Bryant died January 26th. Boom. So right off the bat, the year started off on like some sad stuff for like sports fan and even people who like Kobe. And then from there, it was just like
it's a domino effect.
I mean, before that, I think weren't there fires in like out in what you call it in Australia? Like,
and now we have fires in LA, in California.
Fires in LA, fires in California. Like it was just everything, dude. Like if you start talking about all the things that happened this year, Black Panther died. Yes. You know what I mean? Chadwick Boseman, man. Rest in peace.
Such an amazing, powerful influence on society. I mean, just listen to him speak.
Positive. Dude.
Oh my gosh, you know what I mean? It's like wow,
incredible human being. Forget actor. Incredible human being.
Yes,
bro. Human. Perfect.
And we don't have enough of
the perfect guy.
Yeah, we don't have enough of him. That's what's sad is that like the heroes are being taken from us.
Yes.
The people that can make a difference, the people that sound judgment, the voices of wisdom and reason and promise and dreams and prosperity, those voices are being snuffed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what's the scary part.
Yeah. We're going to talk a little, we talked a little bit about that even on the episode with the guys, the reunion show, the live special show back at the beginning of August. So check that episode out, guys, so you can check out what we're talking about. But with that being said, Sam, you want to go into our topic of the day?
Yes. I will.
It's time for your medicine.
And the topic of the day is
freelance success.
Yes, Freelance success.
And I can't believe I'm getting the name of the segment wrong. Catch your meds. Get your meds.
Well, I got you on camera saying, what is it? George the Crazy Man Vera.
No, really?
Yeah.
What was this, years ago?
Yes, you were live at the Comic-Con and you were interviewing somebody and you said, "This is George the Crazy Man Vera."
Nice. Yes. Oh, it's called assimilation.
That's it. That's how I do. It's programming, baby.
You're incepting people out here. Anyway, get your meds. And we're talking about freelance success, how to be a successful freelancer. Now, Sam, you touched on this topic. And it was funny because I was listening to the episode. And you said it was Anibal that kind of just hit you up and was like, "Yo."
Yeah, so the Anibal, the animal Arroyos, or Arroyos con Pollos, as I call him, he hit me up because, "Yo, you're always doing topics about indie publishers, but what if you don't want to be an indie publisher? What if you just want to be a freelancer?" And I was like, "Word!" So I changed the script in mid air. I'm going in for the dunk, and I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna pass it." And I went and I said, "Let me do the topic on this." I said, "You want to talk freelance? I got some stuff for you." So I did freelancing, how to be successful as a freelance artist.
Right.
And I broke down some key components of being successful and some of the things that what I've experienced and I've seen and I've heard about. And so I said, all right, let's put out the red flags and the things that can make you unsuccessful, as well as successful.
Right. So I listened to the show, but informative. I think that when you step into that octagon of freelancing, right, you got to be ready, man. You have to be ready to hustle, because at that point, that's all you have. If you want to be a freelancer, then that's where your money's going to come from. Yes. Freelancing. Right. So I know that you mentioned having, like a backup, like a job, yes. Just so that you can, have some money when the freelancing gigs aren't there. But some people have been able to do it without it. You know what I mean?
Yes, but that's through hard work, consistency. So what happens is you become the beneficiary of your work ethic. So when you put in the work, and the client is satisfied or more than satisfied with the outcome, they're more inclined to rehire you and also refer you. Mm-hmm. You want a referral, you need to do the job and do it well. If you just want to get paid, you do an adequate job and you move on and you find yourself hitting the pavement again looking for more work. It is important that you satisfy the client so much so that they refer you. And if you're using websites like iWork or Fiverr, you want their reviews. Those reviews can make or break you. So if you're getting 3s and 2s, you're not going to get more work. But if you're getting 5s, 4s, and 5s, you're going to get more work.
So I definitely was listening to what you were talking about, and I went on the old Google, and I was like, and then I started just reading articles about freelancers and some of the things that they did. And so I compiled like a little list of the things that were common, like a common talking point every single time. Every single time I looked at a website, these were some of the things that were coming up. And one of them was contact everyone you know.
Yep. Right.
So you want to be a freelance, you want to be an artist, you gotta network, right? So contact everyone you know. Hey, listen, I'm an artist. Hey, buddy, Sam, listen, dude, I'm starting to do some artwork. If you need anybody who needs it, I think you touched on this on the show. Talking to people and just getting the word of mouth out and saying, hey, man, I do this. If you know anybody who needs, because they may not need it, but they may know somebody who does need it.
Yep.
And so contacting everyone you know is it may sound like, whatever, dude. And it may sound like, wow, that's duh, but
I've gotten work because of idle conversation. So what happens is people know that I'm an artist and I'm a content creator. So they're in the middle of a conversation somewhere with somebody and they say, yeah, we're currently looking for somebody to design some logos for us. Oh, really? Well, we know somebody who may be interested. Let me hook you up. And I worked for, I forgot what they were called. Life from Earth Entertainment. It was for the Empire State Building. I also did a technology-based company that I did some stuff for. storyboarding for, and it was just through word of mouth. It was through word of mouth, and it was just they were at a bar, they were friends or business workers, and the topic came up, and we're currently seeking somebody, and then boom. And that's, again, when you build that network and you've established a foundation of credibility, consistency, reliability,
people are going to refer you. And sometimes the jobs are by chance. And some of them, and the other time
they're intentional. People found you or heard about you, and they're coming after you because they were impressed by your work.
Yeah. The other thing that I saw that was something that, and I think it's near and dear to what we were doing a few months back, work on your personal brand.
Yep.
Right? Brand yourself.
Yep.
Work on that brand. When on your business cards, if you're a designer, design a cool logo for yourself. Yep. You're a designer, right? You're a graphic designer. Show that work off right on your own logo. So people are like, who did that? I did that for myself. Oh, can you do that for me? So working on your personal brand, I think, is very important as well.
Yes.
Letting people know who you are, what you do.
Which is why you have a web presence. You have to have a website that showcases your portfolio and your social media. You need both. So you need a landing page because not all clients are savvy in social media. You might have clients that they're not going to go there. Let me see your website. Mm-hmm. And so you need both. So you need that website, but you on social media, you want to. Who was the guy that we interviewed that said that they did a sketch every single day?
Grok? I heard that, and I was thinking of Jalal. Yeah,
it was Jalal, right? Yeah, so he was drawing every single day a different subject, whatever, so you can get better and better, right?
So that you can get better and better and better.
What a great way to showcase those daily sketches than on social media.
Yeah.
You're posting it every day. You're showcasing this stuff, whatever. And so what happens is the more you put out there, the more people are going to start finding you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then you have that following, and then you start that conversation.
Yeah. There was another artist, Joe Holly, that we interviewed. He also does a sketch a day. So that's a common theme, and it's a way for you to practice and keep yourself. But like you said, why not post that up? Once you finish with it, post it up. Yes. Brand, boom. There's he. Your logo, always your logo, followed by your logo. Like a swipe, boom, the logo, there it is. That's me. Oh, that's that guy. Let me call him www.blah.com.
Yes.
Gone.
Yes.
So that's a good one. The other one is write a plan of action.
Time for some action.
Write it down. This is what I'm going to do. We had actually another, and big shout out to Christian Alouaz, who is a freelance artist. And he wrote a book called It's a Living, Surviving as a Freelancer in the 21st Century. We had him on the show, and we spoke briefly about his book, and he had a whole chapter about his everyday. Like he broke down what he did every day from morning to night. And that was a plan of action, not the plan of action we're talking about, but that was definitely a plan of action.
Right.
How he attacks every single day as a freelancer. You guys should check that book out. It's a Living, Surviving as a Freelancer in the 21st Century by Christian Alouaz. And he was on the show. Check out that episode. Very interesting guy. But yeah, writing a plan of action. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to routines, right? So you have to have a solid foundation and a routine in place to make sure that every day you form habits. Right. So even if those times when you don't have a client, make time to work on your portfolio, right? And to network. So for instance, if you know that 7 a.m. you get up, you walk the dogs, take care of everything. 8 a.m. you're at your desk and you're working on your client's project from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. let's say, right? Sure. And then you're doing the home stuff, whatever. So if you don't have a client from 8 to 4, those times you don't have a client, work on your portfolio, work on networking, promoting your brand, which is you as the creator, as the artist. So that way you don't fall. So that way, if you took a lapse and you just stopped within those time frames, well, I don't have a job, I don't have a client anymore, so I'm just gonna do whatever. When you do get that next client, you have to force those habits back into place. So if you've just made sure that you occupy those time slots to be able to do those things, it'll just be an easy flow. You don't miss it. You don't have to work out kinks. You don't have to. And then always make sure that you always inspect your inventory, which are your tools. You never want to be without the things that you need to be able to do the job, right? So always, at the end of every job, go and take an inventory because you just use a lot of pencils and inks and whatever it is you were using and paper, whatever it is, re-up for the next project. Just make sure that you're regimented enough that you manage your time, you manage your money, and you manage your inventory.
Plan of action.
Yeah.
This one you're really gonna like. I read this one and I was like, oh shoot, Sam. Do your research and pay attention to competition.
Yes. You know me.
Do your research and pay attention to competition. Take it away, Sam. Go ahead. This is your research. The competition.
Yeah, there ain't no competition. So don't worry about how skilled the other person is. Make sure you outwork the other person. Right? So know who the arena that you're going into. Be very aware of the waters that you're going to go swimming because everybody wants a piece of that action. Right? So what's going to set you apart from the other guy? Right? It's those solid routines. It's your social media skills. It is your website that is up to date. The last thing you want is a stale website that hasn't been updated in a year. That should be current. You should have a working time. At least there should be a timestamp, a date. Every time you posted something new, put new date so people know that it's fresh, that you're working, that you're not stale. Make certain that you also look at what's the change. George and I, someone made a comment about a logo that we created that said, well, it's not very relevant today or it's not very fresh. Made me rethink. Right? So I start researching all the brand logos that are out there, right? Are we competitive there, right? Because that comment struck a nerve with me. So those are the things you want to be aware of. Like one of the biggest trends right now is drawing with Copics. Everyone's doing Copic art all over social media, right? So you show your skills on coloring or whatever it is. Look at what the trend is. Don't follow the trend, but make sure you're in line with the changes in the industry, the technology. So that way you're just not a traditional artist, you're a digital artist. You're just not an oil acrylic artist. You can use markers and you can use paint, you know what I'm saying? So make sure you diversify yourself.
I think also part of paying attention to the competition is also paying attention to what the pricing.
Yep.
How much you're going to charge for certain things. Know what other people are charging for what they're doing and don't undercharge or don't overcharge. Knowing what your competition is charging helps you also know, okay, where am I going to be as far as pricing?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I think that's also important when you're paying attention to the competition.
But not only that, but also be honest. Don't post something of a quality that you didn't do or and you can't repeat. So make sure it's your work 100%. I ran across somebody who I hired whose what was shown on the portfolio wasn't what the result of what I got back. Totally different. It was a novice versus professional. So,
but you're talking about from the person who's hiring that person's point of view.
No, that was the talent. I was the hire. I was the client.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. From the hiring person. So that's why. So if you're again, he's a freelance artist looking for work.
Don't be a dirtbag.
Yes, he's gonna get back to you. He's gonna get back to you, and so you just want to make sure that you are transparent. And the way to be competitive is to use accounts like iWork or Fiverr because you can create packages for yourself and say on this package I'm willing to do this for this price, this for this price, boom boom boom, and they will decide whether or not they want to purchase one of those packages. What I also found is I see those packages, but then I'll contact the creator directly and I'll say, well, I've seen your packages, but this is what I'm looking for. And I get a different rate. So I said, all right, send me the offer. And then they send me the offer letter, and then I go, all right, it's good, and I go. So you can actually put the ball in your court to determine your rates. Don't shortchange yourself, but don't overinflate. Make sure you're in line, and then your work will appreciate, and then the demand grows, and then you can raise the rates based on that demand.
Oh, absolutely. But I think that's what I'm saying. But that's what we're talking about. Know your competition, know what they're charging so that you can, you know what I mean? If somebody's charging, $100 for that same thing you're doing, why are you going to charge $250? You know what I mean? Like, unless your name is, a big time name, obviously, hello. But your competition isn't the guy who's charging 100. Your competition is the guy who's charging anywhere between 200 and 300. So know your competition.
Yes.
I think that's the whole point of that.
Yes.
And then get yourself a mentor. Get yourself a mentor.
Yes.
And your first client. Get yourself a mentor. Make sure you have a client. So yeah, man, that was interesting. I found like a mentor, getting yourself a mentor as a freelancer, somebody who you can, go to for advice. Say, hey, yo, man, I got this thing going on. What do you think? So
yes.
That was
I think that's the biggest thing is just constantly work your craft. Get some routines. Be honest. Be professional. Right? So, and one of the things I mentioned in that episode was, and I've seen this, is an artist agrees to a contract and a timeline and the rate. Then they realize that the scope of work is a lot more challenging and difficult, and they get pissed off that they felt that they should be paid more.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? And so then they become disgruntled, and then the quality of the work suffers. You're hurting yourself. Your moment is the beginning through the negotiation phase. Once you agree, whether you don't like it or not, once you've agreed and signed, it is your obligation to see it through all the way. I've seen time and time again artists walk away midway. I've seen time and time again where artists like, I want more money. It's too late. This was what you agreed upon. You're not going to get more work when you pull that stuff, right? Yeah. You're not going to get more work when you walk away. So don't catch a tantrum. All right, so that was a good subject. We're going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to have Enrique QuiQue Lopez on the show. So
get your meds.
Yeah, so I think we'll just do, because I don't think I have the other one. Do I? Duty, credit. Yes, I'll just do together.
You read comics?
But do you read indie comics?
Do you support indie creators?
Indie creators in the arts.
Indie creators in comics, movies, music?
Well, so do we.
Subscribe to Catch the Craze on YouTube.
And let's support the indie community.
Check the flow, cause you know I got soul. The name is Catch the Craze, baby. So act like you know what's called Catch the Craze. Catch the Craze.
All right. So we have a great looking studio.
Look at that. Oh, here he comes. There he is.
Hello there.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Nice setup.
What's going on, Enrique? Nice setup, man.
Well, that's the regular place where I relax, if you can call it that. It's been a rough day, man. It's like I'm heading into a deadline that I have to hand in the horrendous tonight, and I'm still working on it. But I'm only down to one last page, and hopefully I'll give you guys a preview. This is why it's taking me so long. This is the last page. This is actually the reveal of the big splash at the end of the story, just before the end of the story, and this is why it's been taking me so long.
Nice. Very nice.
So the thing is that this is just the regular stuff, but now I have to go in the computer and I'm adding grays and stuff to give it a little more fun. So, yeah. So
good job, man.
Well, I was up until 12:30. I was doing another panel, and then up since early, so we're almost done. I mean, there's still some things I have to add in a few areas, but it's we're getting there. We're getting there.
You're a busy guy, Enrique. Check this out. You remember this?
Oh man, I've seen one of those out there in the.
Yeah, I thought I saw somebody in here that looked just like you during the book. How you doing, Enrique? Besides busy as all heck.
Well, man, it's like I said, it's all really good. It's all really good.
Good. So for those who don't know, this is Mr. Enrique QuiQue Lopez. And he's you're more of an inker, right, QuiQue? Like you identify yourself as an inker, right?
Yeah, as an inker.
So
inker and writer.
inker and writer. So I was reading some of your background here inside the stupendous book, which is a really, really great book, man. A lot of stuff in here that people should definitely pick it up. Stupendous. And you mentioned horrendous, which we're going to get to as well. But this is Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
Howdy.
He's a co-host here on Catch the Craze, and we're happy to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. For people who don't know who QuiQue is, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a son of immigrants. I'm from my parents are from Cuba, and we moved into the States when I was a little kid, and then I've always been a writer. That's basically I've always enjoyed writing since very, very young. I used to watch the cartoons, like all these cartoons, like the Wacky Race, the Speed Race, and stuff. And then what I would do is like go into my first grade class, and then I turn all my friends into part of the story, and I write these stories on these. They would give us this type of like notebookish type of paper that had all these lines at the bottom for you to write, but it had this space on top to draw. So actually, we draw an image and then do the story on the other part. I've never been formally trained. All I've done is learn it on my own. I started thinking about becoming more into the writing and in illustration just before college. But my parents, like everybody else, said, "No, you won't make money off of that." So they made me go to school. So I have a master's degree all the way up to in marketing. I'm also got a bachelor's in marketing and management and a minor in accounting. So I got my business basis covered.
Right.
But what I did was I took a lot of courses in college that prepared me for like script writing, speeching, illustration, video production. And then I went into trying to get a job in marketing and advertising. I tried to get into the big two in the 80s. Did a lot of promotes, a lot of presentations. Even went as far in 94 was the time I actually presented to Dark Horse, limited long full monthly series when they were starting to think about doing their own universe. It wasn't approved at all. But so I just basically hung around in advertising for many, many years. And then about 3 years ago, my daughter, she had already been doing cosplay and stuff. And so she was actually always sketching her drawings before she would go to prepare her costume.
Yeah.
So she decided that she wanted to become an artist. And I told her, well, look, this is not the easy life, but let me take you out on some conventions and I'll be with you because you're a minor. So I'll hang out with you. And while I was out there, I ran into people I met while I was in the 90s and like Billy Tucci, Keith Williams, all this stuff, Mark McKenna. And they were like, dude, why aren't you like in one of our tables? Because I suck. I haven't done this in 30 years. So they basically told me, get back in it, man. You can't lose anything about doing it. So 3 years ago, I got a little table and a little library show, Bergenfield Library, and been doing this ever since. Again,
That's awesome.
With the inking and with Stupendous, the thing is that I actually was able to write my own story. And now for Horrendous, I wrote the story and illustrated it as well. And I have another project we can talk about later that also has writing in it. So
that's awesome, man.
It's like they say, it was really a long road to get here, but
yeah.
Eventually I got what I wanted. One of the dreams was to publish myself, and there it is. That's what I
yeah. Yeah. No, I've spoken to a lot of artists and a lot of writers. And I think I was talking to, I think it was Bob Sally who said this. We all like to draw. Like when we're little kids, everybody draws, right? Everybody just kind of doodles, and everybody just, first thing you do is you're always drawing. At what age did you realize you could draw to the point where you could tell a story through your writing? Was there like a moment where you were like, oh, wow, I can do this. I kind of want to do this.
I was thinking like in high school, about ninth grade, back where I lived in Puerto Rico, there wasn't, except for the newsstands where you could get comics now. And they were very sporadic at best. So I ran into this magazine once, black and white, and it was called CMOC. Now, CMOC in Spanish is actually comic in reverse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
All right, so I took it out, and in there they were basically taking reprints of 2000 ADs stories by Alan Moore, Carlos Escobedo, and a whole bunch of these stories. And then I started saying, look, let me try to do this again. I had already written a bunch of stories. I've submitted it to Isaac Asimov's magazine, to Astounding Stories. They got reviewed and they were saying, no, you need to improve this and that. But now I said, can I take it onto the page? And I found I could do it. It wasn't great, but I started to form to get it in the way that I was starting to do it for my school paper, etc. So I felt that probably around 14, I felt like, I can probably do something with this. And I was always thinking about being a film director. And one of my faves has always been Ridley Scott. And I had read that he likes to do these little Ridleygrams, which are basically mini storyboards. And that's what I've always learned to do with my stories. I was thinking, let me do a little thumbnail of preparing myself for it. And when I went to advertising, that's what I ended up doing, storyboards, a lot of that.
Okay.
I can visualize it and move it along a lot of times. So I've been lucky to do that.
Yeah. No, that sounds, and it's actually, I feel like advertising is one of those things where you can translate that to what we do as independent publishers, right? Because you know how to basically create, whether it's a logo or whether it's an advertising campaign for the stuff that you now are putting together. Have you used some of those skills in what you're doing now? Are you finding that you are kind of like in charge of doing that kind of stuff amongst the groups of people that you work with?
One of the things I think that is a problem with a lot of artists out there today is that they have a lot more skill than I would have. Well, like, for example, I'll give you to answer the question with an example. Keith Williams and Jay Lipson and I tend to do these, like, every once in a while, these little panels and stuff online. And we were discussing about, because we're all inkers, like who's better, who's doing that stuff. And Jay once told me, it's like, of all of us, you're not the most skilled, but of all of us, you have the most knowledge of how to deal with what's going on in the market. And I always am looking for that latest edge, that new thing that I can use to stand out. And that's one of the things. A lot of these artists are great, but they don't have that ability, or they haven't sat down to figure out, how do I get myself out there to become more popular, or not more popular, just get people to see me, get eyes on my work. And that for me, this day, is still always a struggle, because I feel like, and now with the situation that there are no conventions, how do I get people to watch me? How do I get people to understand what I can do? Hence, you see me on this kind of panel. That's why I do Monday shows, and I always do Thursday shows. I started doing that because I wanted people to see what I can do. And it has led me to other jobs and stuff by being out there all the time. I will want, like, for example, my setup for the convention started one way last year, but by the end of the year, it had changed completely because I was testing different things and saying, this week I'm going to try this. Let me see this week. What did this attract somebody? No, that didn't work. Oh, maybe I should do this kind of promotion. Maybe I should try this here. Once Larry Stroman came over to my table and he was like checking it out. He goes like, and I go like, what's up, Larry? He goes like, no, I always love to come to your table because I want to see what the heck you're creating this week. What is he making to make something new, to make an impact? Larry could just put some artwork on his table. He sells it or more. I have to attract people and like do the little stuff. But there's a lot of things artists don't do and mistakes that they do. And I try to tell young artists, don't do this, try not that. But at the end of the day, you just got to try yourself. You got to see what can work and what doesn't. And what is one of the biggest, like you said, you see a lot of mistakes young artists do. What are like the biggest mistakes that you see that these artists do that you try to tell young artists, hey, try not to do that? What would you say is one of the biggest things that you see? One of the biggest mistakes I find, and I committed it a lot at the beginning, is the lack of eye contact with I'm talking about convention, not talking about anything. There's a convention atmosphere, lack of eye contact. And for example, I used to have the idea that I would take like this and I would have a sketchboard and I would be drawing because I wanted people to think I was busy, even though I wasn't doing anything for anybody. I figured out that a lot of people will see me doing that, and instead of like, they'll look and then leave because they don't want to bother you, and then and it's like, because what they're seeing is the top of my head, they're going like, oh, I don't want to bother him or something like that, and unless something's really impactful, you know. But I'm not. If I'm a young and struggling artist and I don't have that name recognition, you really cannot be doing this. Now, if you have been given commissions to do, you can try to find a way to do some in a while, stop, continue talking, checking out, and do work, because a lot of people will come by your table and they'll like try to not get eye contact and stuff because they don't know you. But if you engage enough to say, look, I see you stop a little bit, but is there something that caught your eye? You know, what's going on? Check what I'm doing now, you know, stuff like that. And it can work because other people will do. Another thing I find was a mistake is the used car salesman. You know, there was this group, I'm not going to, there's this group of comic book writers and and they're just like hitting at it every day. It's like, you know this, do you like this, do you like this, do you like this? And I had them next to me one table, and I was going like, looking at keys, going like, well, okay. But one of the funniest things is when they actually asked that, do you like comics, to somebody, and it was, who was it? I think it was Timothy Truman. I'm going like, yeah, you know, yeah, he does know about comics. So, but that sometimes can be counterproductive. You know, people don't want to get that. So people that like put the blinders on quickly. It's whatever works for you. And maybe that works for them. Maybe it works for other people. I just don't engage in that. I will, if I see somebody like looking at my billboard or something, or like, oh, you like Link? You like video games? You know, stuff. I have all this other stuff here. And you try to reel them in a little by little. It's not easy. It's not easy though. No. That's why I'm constantly looking at new things to create. I didn't bring it out. I'll bring it out later. I have these printed canvases that I do that are like, you could just put them up on on the wall. They're ready with wood frames, and they're beautiful pieces. And I put those up as a show, and they go like, people go like, well, I don't have that. I say, well, go for it. And they sell really well. So it's trying to find items that also are different from everybody else. And it's just a lot of research, you know. A lot of people just jump on the latest fad, and you can do that. But sometimes you don't, if you don't really enjoy it. Like, for example, if I hear right now Venom is the most popular character out there, and I don't enjoy drawing him, it's going to be a chore for me to do it. And why? Just to try, then my artwork won't reflect that love for the character. Therefore, it will not be as nice if it were Spider-Gwen, for example. That's something I really enjoy doing. So there's a lot of things a person has to deal with, and nobody has all the answers until unless you're like a Tom McFarlane, who's been, and obviously he doesn't have all the answers all the time. He makes mistakes, and there things mess up. But you know, you just have to keep at it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is trial and error. And you made a good point. I think Sam and I always talked about that. Like, you know, when we were doing conventions, the biggest thing is engaging people, you know, because they don't know who you are. So if they just see the top of your head, they're just going to walk right by you. They're not going to stop at your table, you know? So that is, you know, that is something that I think people want to do that.
Really impactful. Then you can get away with it. They can get away with it. But, I mean, it can be rough, you know. Some shows, I've been at shows that I never stop, and it's like constantly on top of me. Right. And it's great and tiresome, but it's great. And I've been shows that I'm like,
there's nobody there.
Or even worse, they're buying here, and not here. And I'm like, what's wrong? What am I doing wrong? And but that's the other point. It's like, I tell everybody, young artists, old artists, anybody, it's like, you have to understand, when I look at somebody next to me and I see they're moving stuff, I'm go like, is it much better than me? Yes. Okay. That's a fact. Now, if it's like pretty even, I'm going like, so what's the attraction over there versus me? And sometimes it's just psychological. It's that art is very subjective. For one person, something will look beautiful, and another person will be horrible. And it is not against you. It is not a critique of your art and your skill. It's just the way a person will react to that item. I've always felt that there's some pieces that you will feel overjoyed and love. You probably are feeling something from the past, and this artwork is bringing it up to you, and you're feeling great about it. At the same time, I can have this beautiful piece, and a lot of people will like shudder, and because something in there reminds them of something very negative, and therefore they're not going to like it, no matter how good it is.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the. Because I've sold pieces of mine that I did a while ago of, like, for example, a Japanese version style, and I was just putting it up there. This little something I did. Somebody bought it, and I was like, "Really? Great! This is awesome!" And it's just one of the things that thing called to that person. And to be honest, it's not one of my better works, but it was great. That person said, "Yes, I want this for my house." I go, "Okay, go for it.
Take it." Yeah.
So
Kika, tell us a little bit about your creator-owned project. So Masks, right? Is that the title of the your?
Title of the story and the stupendous, yes, was Matt. It was not the original story. Originally, I was another story for Stupendous, but it was very dark. I'm more of a science fiction horror writer. I'm very influenced by Arthur C. Clarke. You got Isaac Asimov, Ray Bradbury, especially Bradbury and Stephen King. Those are the very
Stephen King, yeah.
Like I like to do those kind of works. So I didn't want to do a fun story. I wanted to make it very visceral and also very contemporary. So what happened was when COVID came around, I spoke to the editor. I said, "Look, my story is this way." Yeah, it's pretty dark. We're like, "And what do you think we're going to do? You want me to lighten it up or something? Because right now, I don't think people will really like to read that. It's going to be jarring in the book." And he was like, "Well, if I give you some more time, can you do something else?" I go, "Okay." The other story was done. I had to start from scratch. And then I came up with this idea, which I'm not going to tell anybody about, but basically you got the big character Massive Man, which is in the other story. And what is little fun escapade to try to catch these guys and what they were doing. I ran into some time constraints, and therefore a friend of mine, Eric Hernandez, jumped in, and he did one page, which I needed him to do the action for. And he had so much fun that I said, "Let's do it. You want to do the next page with me?" He said, "Yeah." So we ended up doing 2 of my 6 pages. And it really helped because now I can use that switch of art style to my advantage, because now this story, Mask, is actually the beginning of a longer story that will end with my original. And then that one's going to have an aftermath, which will explain how it all ties in together. But even my wife didn't want me to do that other story. She was like, no, you cannot do that story. I got my daughter hated it. They didn't just
really.
They hated the ending. I said, "But why do you hate it?" "Because it's so visceral." Like, and I was always selling the idea. It's like, when is a superhero story not a superhero story? Where can it go on beyond that? And that's what I was trying to go for. Yeah. And so it's an interesting story. I have it in my files over there. It'll see the light of day probably in about 2 years once the story runs its course.
So do you put like a part of the story in every anthology that you guys do? Is that how you're working it, or how are you doing it?
That would be too much info, but I'll but actually, for Horrendous, there is no relationship. There is not going to be a direct. Okay. There's not this time. The story Horrendous is a story I wrote about 3 years ago, and I was going to produce it and work it with another artist for presenting to Alterna for their anthology when it came out on a Wednesday. And then we ran into some issues with he and I and had a falling out. And then I kept it here. So when Horrendous came around, I go like, wait a minute, let me dust it off and see if it can work. At that time, the story was about a certain subject, But now for this one, I refreshed it to be even more contemporary, especially with what the situation of the world is right now, etc. I tend to do that a lot in my writing. Okay. My writings, I'm very influenced by the idea that science fiction and horror are good vehicles in which to put a mirror to the world by using a totally different item, totally different things to say what you want to say and make people think, wait, is this about that? Mm-hmm. And not be straight up like, oh, this is about this, and I'm going to preach to you. No, it's a story. It's a story that I believe if people can figure it out, it'll be really cool. I mean, I put enough clues in it for people to figure out what I'm talking about by the time they get to the end. Well, I can say that the title is the title of the story, because by the time this is out, we already out. The name of the story in that one is called Carnivorous. So that should tell you.
Yeah. Okay.
Carnivorous, and if you like the way Stupendous looked, this one's going to look even better, because I really learned from my experience of working this one, in that I find it, even though it looks really good, I still look at it and go like, it could have been cleaner, it could have been worked better. And this one is really, really clean. Everything's coming up. The grays, I'm doing it totally different, and using the Photoshop and digital, it's really looking really good. I mean, it's going to look 100 times better than this one. That's a full 10-page story. It's got two splash pages, which is rare, especially back to back. But I'm proud of that one. It's really going to be a good story. So I'm looking forward to having people read it real soon. So
absolutely. So now you said that's Stupendous. So tell me a little bit about your involvement in the story, because I know that there are a few different. It's an anthology, so there are a few stories in it. So what's your involvement in the book besides obviously your story? What's your involvement in it?
Basically, originally, let me pick it up over here real quick. Last year, this book came out, which was the original
Horrendous.
Volume 1 of Horrendous, Volume 1. Now, when this one came out, it has a bunch of my friends in it, and I didn't hear about it in time about it. So I told Matt, who's one of the he works with me on other projects. I told him, look, if you ever hear them about doing another thing of this, let me know. I want to get in. So they gave me the name of the editor and creator of this, which is John Muller. And I told John, look, if you ever decide to do another one of these, let me know. Yeah. And he said, okay, I'll put you on the list. And then he contacted me a few months later and says, oh, we're doing another one. Oh, great. So what? I got a horror story. No, it's called Stupendous. It's going to be superheroes. I'm like, I personally don't like doing superhero stories. I don't.
No, okay.
It's very easy to fall into the cliche of the costume guys and all that stuff. So I go like, I'm going to have to switch it up. So that's where I told you I had a different story in there. So I came in with them, and from the very beginning, it was set up to be like a group thing. We communicated through Discord. We kept everybody up to date. Now, for this one in particular, he decided that he wanted to do a wraparound cover. Mm-hmm. And I told him, look, if you want, I can ink it. And he goes, well, let me talk to the guys and the gals. And they all agreed, yes, we want Enrique to ink all of us. So they all sent me their characters. I inked them individually, and then we added them into the cover.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So it doesn't say it on the cover, but inside it says all the cover inks are mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and of course I got my big guys in front, Massive Man, and Kid Massive never shows up in the story, but he is in the voice out there. So
he's a narrator. Okay.
Yeah, he's in there in part.
So that's your involvement in this. And then so now you finally were able to get into Horrendous. Your next story is in the Horrendous, which by the time this is out, it would have came out in October, correct?
Our goal is, that's why I have to hand that in tonight, is that we're out by Halloween. We're hoping to have it out by Halloween Fest. If they do it again for comic book stores, if they do, we're going to have it out by then. Halloween is the goal. So yeah, it should be out by November, definitely. So my involvement with this one and Horrendous, as then there's another artist in here, which is John. John, I'm gonna make sure his name is correct. It's like always confuse his last name. Where is he? John Engel.
John Mull.
Endingfield.
Yes.
Endingfield. Yeah, John Endingfield the third. He comes to me about a month or so ago, and he tells me, "What are you doing for next year? In the next few months?" Well, I got a few things going on. Why? He says, "I'm putting an anthology together." I go, "Really?" "Yep. It's going to be this type of characters." I go, "Whoa, that's interesting." He says, you want in?" I go like, "Sure, I'll go in. Let me try. Let me look at the characters, because there's going to be some public domain stuff in there. Let me check it out." And I did, and I told him, "Look, I found that I liked 3 stories I could write." He goes like, "Fine. How many pages do you think will be each?" "I don't know. What's the maximum pages you can have? 10? 10 pages each. Fine, you're in." "Well, don't I have to do a promo? Like you told everybody here, you got to send it in to be approved." "No, but I already seen your work. I know you're in." So, okay. So I was like, okay, fine. So I'm going to have that other project, and that's coming up. I'm going to, in November. Yeah, by now I've already told it. It's called Not So Fair Tales. It'll be in Kickstarter in 2021.
Cool.
We're taking characters which are fairy tales and giving them our own twist. My 3 stories are going to be I'm going to have one story which is based off the character of Jack the Giant Killer. I'm going to have another story which will have the Big Bad Wolf and Pinocchio in it. And then the third story is the one that's totally out there. Nobody knows this character. It's called Iron John. And that story, I'm still looking for the other 2 stories that I have the teams ready. The teams are set. I'll be announcing them soon. They're all set. I'm writing and inking them all. But then everybody else is helping me with lettering and coloring and etc. But the third story, I've been trying to get a particular artist to help me. And unfortunately, they're either too busy, too old, it's not their style, they don't want to do it. So I haven't been able to get the person I want. So I'm ending up going to have to draw that one. And the thing is, that story is the one I am really looking forward to, because it's very contemporary. It's very something of now, socially talking about. The other ones are going to be fun. The one with the Big Bad Wolf and Pinocchio, that's going to be the fun one. That's going to be a comedy. I already talked to everybody about the idea. They all love it.
So Kika, real quick, just not mean to interrupt you, but so this episode will air November 20th. Could you say who the groups or who your artists are at this point to kind of promote the fact that it will be in 2021, or do you want to kind of keep that under wraps still for later on?
By then I will have them announced already. Yes.
Okay. So you want to make an announcement now, being that this is November 20th? No, it'll go this way. This is the way it'll come out on the 20th. It won't come out until the 20th, though.
What do I mean? Does this interaction we're doing now will show up like that or not?
Yeah, just like this. Yeah, what you're saying right now will come out. Yeah. We don't do any edits like, oh, cut that, unless you say something that you didn't mean to say, and be like, can you guys please, take that out? Whatever.
Cut it out if you can. The splash page I showed you at the beginning. If that.
When does that come? When does that come out?
That's the one for Halloween, so it's right close to this, and I don't want people to see that.
No, they're not going to see it until November. This show doesn't come out till November 20th.
Yeah, it'll be after Halloween.
Okay, we're good. All right. So
yeah. So you're good. You're good. Okay. Anything you say now, it's fine. That's what I'm saying. If you want to promote something, you should now, because this is the time.
Okay. So Jack the Giant Killer will have myself inking and writing. I'll have the editor and the creator of Stupendous, John Muller. He will be doing the artwork and the lettering. And then my friend Robbie Bryan will be doing the colors.
Okay.
For the Big Bad Wolf and the Pinocchio story, it'll be myself just writing and probably inking it. But then my very good friend Matt Buttigieg will be he's a very good cartoonist. He'll be taking over all the artwork, lettering, coloring, and etc. And for the third story, the Iron John, is right now me doing all the artwork.
Right.
And hopefully I have a few people who might help me on that. In November, we'll know if it's happened. But that's going to be lettered by Carlos Mangual from DC Comics.
Oh, nice, dude. Very nice.
Because
awesome.
That one has 2 characters in there, Iron John and another character. And I want to make sure that their dialogue has a very distinct look.
Mm-hmm.
Carlos also is from Puerto Rico, so we hit it off, and he's going to help me with that. So those are the 3 that we have officially right now. There might be a 4th. And
okay.
The other day, and I'm going to see if I can have time, because the reality is this will come out in March or April, the Kickstarter. But before then, I'm also going to be doing the Mighty Atomic Thunderbolt with Matt Parton. We were supposed to come out in February with it, but he got hired to do some children's books, which is always great to get work.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
going to delay it. What I'm going to be doing is I'm waiting for his script, and I'm going to start doing like some layout breakdown storyboards, so he can draw it really quicker. So when he gets his chance, all he has to do is just draw, and I can ink it later, and doesn't have to be full. So that I'm taking over Soul Eraser and issue number 4 from Triple Threat Comics. That should start about mid 2021 as well.
Okay, good. So you're busy, QuiQue. You're doing all kinds of stuff. Good for you.
It was funny today. My daughter, I asked her, I may need your help in helping me with some shading because I'm running out of time. It was for the Horrendous, and she goes like, "For which project? I mean, what are you talking about? You got so many going on. Which one you want me to help you with?" That's funny to hear that. Only a few months ago, I was like bumming out and I had nothing to do. And
you had nothing to do, and now you're busy.
I'm running up against stuff. And one of the good things about the COVID situation and the no conventions is that I was stuck at home inside, and therefore it gave me opportunity to do more of the artwork and get things out there, get people to say, "Look, we want you to do this," and I'll be able to say, "Yes, I can," because normally this year I was gonna be in around. Last year I did 28 conventions last year.
Jeez, damn, really?
8 conventions. So this year I was actually going to be doing pretty much the same, but we're going to be bigger. Like I was going as far as the Midwest.
Yeah.
I was going to be, my tour this year was I was going to do Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Cincinnati, New Jersey, New York. I was going to go all up the East Coast, down the East Coast. I was going to go across, and this happened.
This happened.
Had I been doing that, it would have been really difficult for me because some of these trips would have been like almost a whole week out there.
Yeah, of course.
Like for North Carolina, I would have to drive maybe a day before to get there.
Yeah.
They set it up, then do the 3-day convention because I was going to do Heroes Con. So I was going to do all the 3 conventions, then come back. Then the next week I was doing Garden State. Then the next week I had another one. And it was like a constant. So no weekends were going to be available for me to do much of the work. So I mean, trying to move it up ahead as quickly as possible. That's why that's where my show came from, the Inking with QuiQue, because I just started doing it live just for the heck of it. And then a buddy of mine, Robbie, joined in one show. He says, "Can I join in?" I said, "Sure." And we had fun. We're like, you know what? I'm going to let me do a little show about this one. So let me see if we can do it. And I started asking people, "Look, I'm thinking about doing this little thing and stuff." Boom. It started people saying, "Oh, yeah, I'll do it." Tom Travers was the first, and Robbie was second. Sarah Madura. I've had all my buddies, all my friends on the show. And it's all, I've been trying to make it more about the independent, upcoming artists who are not that well recognized. Every once in a while, I'll have a guy like Derek Pashano, who has like 16,000 followers.
Right.
I feed on that. I go, great. And I gained like about 50 just through him.
Right, yeah, just because he's on it. Yeah, no, that's the way it works.
Brought in a lot of looks. And then I'll do shows with like, who else was also on the show the other day? Angel Manuel Lopez, he is Son of Saint. He has an incredible following because all the posters she does for movies. So we enjoy each other. We always have a great fun. But then for people who are more recognized, like Mark McKenna and Keith Williams. I set them on a Thursday. That way they can do more chat and not as much as drawing. Yeah. So the other day, when after Keith did it with me, the chat version, now he wants to do the inking version. So, okay. I told you.
So Inking with QuiQue is basically a show where you sit down and you show your drawing skills and other people come in and also do the same thing. Is that what the concept is?
It's always on Mondays. Mondays on Instagram at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what I do is that I ask, for example, now in November, only females are going to be on the show. Okay. The only female artists. So by the time this is up, we're already been halfway through it. So basically what they can do is one or two things. Like, for example, in the case of James Avila, he and I have already a working relationship. So I already had pieces of his, which I do blue line commissions. So what I did was, like, during the show, he started doing another drawing, and I was drawing over his Hellboy. And it obviously was a very complex piece. I didn't finish it during the show. But I did one yesterday with Sebastian Bonet that he sent me a brand new picture, brand new sketch. He had just done it, sent it to me, really rough. And I went online while he was doing another drawing. We were talking, and I was just
That's cool.
doing everything there. Then people can see the different styles I use for different parts of the project. So most of the time what I end up is finishing it later. But yesterday I did it really quick, really quick. And it came out really nice.
Nice. So Monday nights, 8 p.m., Inking with QuiQue on it, live on Instagram.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Right now, awesome, I got people all the way through the end of November. So hopefully they'll keep. In December, it might be a little difficult because of the holidays and stuff, but we'll work it around. We'll get something.
Yeah, that's basically what we do. We try to book it, and that's why this show will be aired so far ahead, because we are just getting so many people coming in to do interviews, and I'm glad you're able to come in and chat with us. Tell us how people can contact you and buy your books and stuff. Tell us where to get you.
Okay, let me see if I can do this real quick. I have this little piece of paper here. Little marketing person. Here you go. All my
Look at that.
Okay, everything. MBA in marketing. All right, so you got my Instagram, you got my Facebook, you got my Twitter, the Twitch account, my Twitter.
You got a Twitch?
I got Twitch too, and my webpage is here, right down here. This is the one where you can basically go in there and see everything I got, original artwork, sketchbooks, everything is in there. I'm getting hopefully a better store set up because I'm trying to get people to do the click thing real quick. And when they have to go and call me and get stuff, it's just not the best way. But I'm not thinking of it because most of my sales have always been on going conventions. So it's like, it caught me.
Well, you got one on Instagram, because I saw this thing on Instagram and I was like, hey, QuiQue, how I get this? And you were like right on it. You were like, all right, cool. And what do you want? Then you also get, let me see, hold on, because I have it right here. I got a little one of these guys. That was really cool. And all the information is in the back. So if anybody, do they all come with this, QuiQue, when you sell the book?
Right now, the way I'm selling it, and probably all the way through for now, it's I give them the bundle. They get that was actually a freebie. That was nice. I give him a mini print. That's one of the mini prints, and then the bookmark, and that one over there is a Jim Lee piece that he did. And And what I did, I inked over, and I love the blue line that I left out there. And I don't, I that for like free with. I don't sell that because I don't have the rights to the character. So I throw it in there for anybody and stuff. It's really a nice little piece. I'm one of my favorite pieces and that I have and I've done.
Yeah. No, this is cool. I like this. I like this a lot.
The cool thing is only $10.
This is dope.
You get all that.
Yeah.
$10.
Yeah, no, and it's a nice thick book, man. It's not even like a regular 24-page comic. It's you got a lot of stuff in here.
It came out really well. The only thing that I told John that for the next edition, the second, we should put it on the spine here, the stupendous on the spine.
All right,
we didn't think about it when we did the cover that it would be that in that space, but it came out really well. And by the way, Horrendous is going to be bigger than this one.
Wow. Okay.
It's going to be about 20 to 30 pages more. Okay. So we got more people. because after I did this one, I told my buddies, you should get in this in Horrendous. And I got James Aviles joining, Tom Travers is joining. So they got even more people involved. And the one we're doing in the Not So Fair Tales, that's going to be about 180 pages, 200 pages.
That's good, man. That's the one that's going to go on Kickstarter, right?
Yes, that's going to be on Kickstarter. It's going to be a really interesting size. It's going to be 9 by 9, 8.5 by 9. It's really like a small book,
almost like a square. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be almost a square, but it's going to be really thick.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting, the panel work.
Oh yeah.
It's not the regular big size. So I hear some people doing it one way. I'm doing another way. So it should be interesting. The stories have to be even number 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. No 7, no 5. It has to be those. So I'm like, to really respect it. So I'm like, okay. And the cool thing as a dad is that my daughter is doing a story as well. So
really good. I was going to ask you how how far has she gone?
Well, she's now looking to either go to FIT here in New York to study, or SCAD in Atlanta, or in down South Carolina, Savannah. But she started out just doing Voltron. That's all she loved to do. She watched a series on the Netflix, and she just loved it. And I always told her, you need to expand. You cannot be just, otherwise you're going to be that niche girl or niche artist. And then, unbeknownst to her, she liked Good Omens. So she started doing stuff for Good Omens. Then she started watching She-Ra. Oh, I like this. So she started drawing She-Ra. Oh, she liked the Last Airbender. Oh, now she's drawing Airbender. Watching the Umbrella Academy. Now she's doing all the characters. And I told her, look, you have actually done what I told you to do unwillingly. You just unwittingly did it. Oh, I like this. Now all of a sudden you have all the different, you're no longer one niche. You got all these different. Now you can look at it as a niche as TV show fans, but it's great because you now have art from all different styles and different characters that now people can say, do you have, oh, cool. Because Billy Tucci told me that the first time, he says, have 10 prints, at least 10, and make sure they're all different in the sense, not all superheroes, have everything else so people can always have something to choose. And that's my first 10 was I had some Marvel, some DC, some fantasy, some game, which was a Link. I had the Star Wars one. So they were all over the place. So when people come here, do you have? Yes. Yeah. Yes. So there's always something there. But
now, are you guys going to
prints, man? I created over 50 prints and just as many more postcards and stuff. And I'm going to start cutting down because I can't carry. I mean, the carrying it to all these shows, because if I have 50 options, I have to take at least 5 of each. That's a lot to carry. That's over 200 something pages of stuff all the time. I'm like, no, we're going to start. We're going to do like.
Well, let me ask you this, QuiQue. Are you and your daughter going to do like a dad and daughter kind of story where like you write and she draws? Are you maybe thinking of that?
We originally started doing one. I have a story called The Birdman, and it's a very personal story of mine. Actually, I competed with it on a local New Jersey story writing competition and finished in the top 10. And so I wasn't top 10 final. I didn't win it, but I actually was with that story. And she was going to draw it, and I was just going to write it. And it's been like set there. It's not going anywhere. For the one in the anthology, I already offered her to be her editor. And she has her own, creator own, and I am the editor of that one. She just doesn't like our styles together. She's more digital than anything else. So she's very lineless. So she doesn't use a lot of the ink.
Right.
We'll put the line down, but it was not as profound. And one of the critiques for her is that she feels that my inking takes her out of the picture in the sense that it overwhelms her art. That sometimes it just looks more like mine than hers. I told her, look, if you're going to do anything like this, comic book and likewise, you're going to have to do everything then, because sometimes it has happened. People will come to her to commission her drawing and then go over here and hand it to me to ink it. And she'd be like, why? Because I want him to ink it. And that's just the way it happens. And I told her, you know, you just have to be able to release them that you have done your part, you did the pencils, and you got to let it go. Let somebody else, because in comics, it happens all the time. You know, it's not always that you know who the person is. Sometimes I'll be doing the drawing and somebody else is going to ink it. And they may do, well, we all know about the different inkers out there that have destroyed the history of so many other artists because they were so terrible. And that happens, but it's very rare, very rare. So most of the time it will be a good compliment and stuff. Well, the other thing, I did a work for somebody and he came up to me after I did it. And I was really happy with it, extraordinarily happy with it. And he was like, what is it? No, because you use brush, did you? Yeah. I don't like brush. I prefer people, an inker who uses micron because it's very lined. And by the way, you apparently don't understand how I leave stuff out there and hoping that the inker will cover it up. Like, that only happens after you work with somebody for a while. You know, so nothing, you know, we're not a good match. He goes like, and this is what he tells me. Because the thing is that what I'm feeling here when I look at your work is too much of Neil Adams here. I go like, you know, you may be insulting, but you're also praising me because you just told me I'm like Neil Adams.
Right, that was like a compliment.
It's like, and it is because I use brush. I use a lot of his technique. He's one of my influences. So I took it like when I told him, he was like, "I'm sorry." He was like, "I'm not worried." It's like art teams they need to mesh, and sometimes it's not a good match. You're not criticizing my saying that art sucks. He says, for your way of doing it, the way you would like it as a writer and illustrator, you would prefer somebody else. And that's not a knock on me. It's just we're different styles. And he goes to me, I wish everybody would be like you because you take it like it is. Like you didn't like, whoa, you know, this is hard. How can you be insulting to me? You know, I used to be that way when I started again. I was like offended when somebody said, I remember somebody else, I did something like for somebody to check out. It was like, no, our styles don't mesh. I was like, what are you talking about? This looks great. And I was like totally angry with it. But then again, it's just subjective. Each person doesn't like it. And he's actually he is actually going to be on my show. So now we're going to actually see.
Look at that.
Thing since then. So it doesn't, I don't take it anymore. Hey, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And there's some people who look at my ink and go like, no, I don't want you to ink my stuff. And I'm like, no problem. Not a problem.
Well, QuiQue, listen, I look forward to seeing more of your stuff. We're running out of time here now, but definitely, man, I definitely got to keep in contact with you. And when Horrendous comes out, I'm definitely getting a copy of that bad boy. So get ready for my message.
You will get it. And like I said, also we'll have a nice little deal with it probably. And I really appreciate you guys letting me on here. You know,
man.
This is as close as I can get to like a con and talking to people and letting them know the craziness I do. And you see back here, it's like this is like my Hall of Fame of people here. It's like I got Keith Williams, Larry Stroman. Over there in the corner, you can't see that's an alien that I did of the xenomorph that was signed by Tom Skerritt and Veronica Cartwright from a show. So that's over there next. So I really appreciate you letting me here, and
definitely, man.
I'll keep in touch. And
absolutely.
Once that Kickstarter is up, I'll let you guys know. And maybe we could do another show then to promote that as well. That would
absolutely, man. Absolutely. That'll be good. Thank you so much, QuiQue, for coming on. And if anybody wants to watch your show, it's Mondays live on Instagram. So follow QuiQue on Instagram. You saw his
look for it here.
There it is. Look for it right there. Thanks again, QuiQue, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
Okay, take care. Thank you very much.
Take care, my friend. There you are.
Yes.
You got a little light show going back there, huh, Sam?
You know how I do. You know how I do.
I can't wait to go back into the lab and see what you've done
with
the whole thing. What happened to the city landscape? You don't have it back there no more?
I have the staircase and Calvin and Hobbes.
Calvin and Hobbes, that's nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so QuiQue, man, he's full of stories and a lot of stuff. These anthologies. You know what's funny? Aniba is a big fan of anthologies. He loves anthologies.
Yeah. I've never been a big fan of them.
Me neither. I'd tell them that too. I was like, I'm not a big fan of it because you know what it is. As a reader, I've noticed like, okay, when you, I think, and I could discuss this with him too, but I think that if you are not a name, people kind of get lost in what I'm seeing. It's like it's got to be really freaking good for you to be like, oh man, look at that. You know what I mean? Or you want to buy something from a specific artist. And if you're a name, obviously you're going to buy it. But if you're not a name, it gets a little confusing for people. Like, is this one story or is this, what is it? You know, what am I looking at?
Yes.
So yeah, for me, this actually is pretty good actually.
And what I see, like most anthologies that I've seen, at least in the past, were all the themes were different. You know what I'm saying? So if everybody decided to, look at that.
He's in there.
Yeah, he
nice.
He ain't playing. You know, I think if you said, you know, we're gonna have a horror themed anthology, and you know, 5 different groups of writers and 5 groups of artists and different stories or whatever. At least there's a theme to it. Sometimes you've seen where it was just different, and then you get used to an art style, and then it changes up. You know, there's no continuity because most of the time it's a one shot mini. Yeah. So that's why for me, I've never really gravitated to it. Yeah. Because most of the time there's no follow up to it.
Yeah. And that's why I asked them, are you doing like a part of the story in every anthology and then eventually coming out and putting it all in one? And he's like, oh, no, not gonna spill the beans on that one. I was like, you're very secretive, QuiQue. But yeah, no, check that stuff out.
But it was interesting how he touched on the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
It seems to be a pattern.
Every time we have some kind of topic, and this isn't even planned. Like, it's not even like we send them questions that we're going to talk about this topic today. You want to touch on that? No, it just happens. It's funny, man.
I was like, oh, look at that. It's like we're like Nostradamuses.
We know what they're going to say.
Yes, I know.
Oh, man. But yeah, no, good one. So next week is Turkey Day. I'm not sure exactly who's coming on next week.
Gobble.
We haven't booked anybody yet.
Gobble.
But it'll be another fun show. So join us next week. Check out the Patreon. Let them know, Sam.
Check out if you've been watching, you see Ultra Crazy standing in the middle, right? Support this guy. He's going to have to come to your house and get you. So, what level of crazy are you? Are you crazy? Are you extreme crazy? Are you hyper crazy? Are you psycho crazy? Are you super crazy? Only way to find out is by going to our Patreon and joining the squad. Become a member of the Craze. Help support the Craze and help us grow because we're here for you. Act like you know. Stop acting up. Join the squad. So go on to the Craze on Catch the Craze Patreon / Catch the Craze and find out more. And there's something for everyone at every level.
And check out crazycomics.com. I'm sure the links will be there. Just click it right on to one-stop shop, crazycomics.com. Check all that stuff out.
Yes, check out the Craze. The Craze.
Catch the Craze.
Yeah, so we do appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for supporting us throughout the years. And here's to I don't know what's on the horizon, but happy gobble time. Be safe, be healthy. Make sure you tell your loved ones you love them. I'm Sam the Crazy Man Vera.
George the Dreamer Medina. Oh, damn. I didn't even know that.
And we is...
It's just easy. It's not.
Crazy. Acquiesce.
No, I was talking about my friend Acquiesce. I met Say my name, right? This is what you were thinking? Oh,
How
you described me? He said, I'm the
What? Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze. To Catch the Craze. You are listening to Catch the Craze. This is Craze. You're listening to Catch the Craze.